Start up. Oh, it's gonna. Okay, here we go. Another back with another edition of the Down and Back. I know we've had a couple of weeks of break from the interviews, but we're back with the big fish from last weekend. You heard me talk about him already this week, Mister. I'm not going to call you Dan, Mister Dave Dunlop. Dave, how you doing?
Pretty good. How's it going, Doug?
Not too bad. So we are recording this a little early. You're only like a day after having that exhausting day. We're like I said, we're doing this a bit early because I got to go up to your area this weekend again. But man, like and we'll get to a little later on as well too. But just how can you can you put up that yesterday in a couple words?
Well, I slept really good last night. I know that, but it was just pretty much a marathon. It's a long day and a lot of tough battles. A couple of the longest games I've ever played. So.
Oh yeah, and I think a couple of the longest ones we've ever had in Canadian cornhole. But we will get to that in a little bit. Let's go back to start. Because for me, I've been able to see you kind of come along because we know there's the other person that does live with you that kind of maybe she's a little bit of a celebrity with the Canadian Girls Play Cornhole. We have to talk about her because Donnie McPhee and I have said she's faked us out a couple times. So you get to practice with her. But
does the classic "I'm no good" and then comes out firing.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Oh, I was got to throw 4-baggers. Yeah. So that's what you get to practice with all the time. But so how did you get your start in cornhole?
We've played it in the backyard kind of thing for a bunch of years. We used to just do it after baseball and that. But a couple of years ago, we seen a tournament was down in Barrie, so we went down and it was more of a official style tournament. So kind of got us hooked in a bit there. Me and my brother-in-law Gary Fournier, better known as Big Sexy, but me and him used to play quite a bit, and he's the one who kind of got me switch my style of throwing instead of being a backyard chucker to actually doing a flat spin bag.
Yeah, and again, like many people who've been mentioned on the show, I have had the fortunate time of losing a game to him as well too, but. But no, so then you kind of go on there, and then I'm gonna say the first time I really got the chance to see you throw live was back in December at the conference, the first conference we had in Niagara, and you were really kind of throwing it on there. So that was probably your first big event like that.
Yeah, I played pretty good most of that tournament, and then we got to the broadcast stage, and I probably had a pretty terrible game that time, but.
But it's still, it was your first time on being on that stage, so it's got to the nerves had to be there because I know what I've been like the first time I was down at a big event. But
yeah, no, it was a good experience though. You learn a lot from it, right? It helps calm the nerves the next time. So.
Well, exactly, and then I got to see you throw at some other regionals and stuff, and you were starting to bring it on then, and then leads us to the Open in Niagara. And I kind of said, I talked on the ACL live show that this Dave Dunlop guy is going to be a guy that you kind of have to watch. So, and then you kind of made me look a little smart, which, it doesn't happen too often. But,
I have my moments, but I can lose to anybody too. I have some bad moments. So.
Well, no, so you went, so probably one of your biggest events was that event back in December when we had probably 15 sets of boards. What was your first impression walking into that Open in Niagara?
Oh, it was incredible. Just the size of that building. The venue itself was huge. It's bigger than any cornhole tourney I've seen by far, but by about 10 times. But the building itself was massive too. Well, just walking in, seeing all the boards set up was pretty cool.
Exactly, and for me, that was the first time here in Canada I've seen on the marquee out front on their video board is the event that we're having, right? And that was kind of that kind of made it that little bigger feeling as well.
Yeah, Niagara is always a fun city to be in too. Usually lots going on down there.
Exactly, yeah. And again, late nights and early mornings, which was not what I missed from any big events. Yeah, so your run there. So you were we did the doubles there. Who was your partner there for the doubles at that conference event? These were at the Open.
At the Open was my brother-in-law, Gary.
Okay, yeah. And then how was your run there?
Teams.
Oh yeah,
Sorry.
Sorry, you had that run. I forgot the Friday night, that first Friday night. You guys surprised some big teams at that teams event with the people you had in your team.
That was a really cool experience. I like the team style there.
Well, and it kind of, I think for some people it got them accustomed to being in that big venue with that many people playing, right? And it was just it was just a fun event.
Oh yeah, it was a lot of fun.
So then we skip ahead then to the Saturday morning where we have the doubles. Then how did you and Gary do in the doubles event?
We actually did really good. I forget. I think we went 4-1 in the rounders, and then we ended up. I don't know if it was Jordan Power and Jimmy McGuffin give us our first loss or second loss. They got us pretty good. It was quite the experience though to play them. So.
Well, exactly, because I think for some of the people in Canada, they'd only ever seen those guys on TV or on Facebook or whatever, and then to be able to see them in the same venue playing against them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, there's so many good, solid teams in that event. It was incredible. It was eye-opening, right? There's so many, not just the Americans. The Americans were all phenomenal, but there's a lot of really good Canadian teams too. So.
Yeah. So then you guys made a pretty good run there on the Saturday. Then we come to the Sunday of the Open where we have singles, and I was kind of watching your progress as well as Dion there, but you surprised a lot of people there as well too.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I had a couple of good battles in that one too. Actually, I just come off of a pretty long game against Samantha Finley where I actually had the lead late after she was beating me most of the game, and then she crushed me at the end. But I go from that to having to play Bernie. I'm like, oh, here we go. But Bernie kind of had a bit of an off game. The boards were really sticky on him, and I was able to capitalize on some opportunities. And then right from that one to another long battle with Sean Steffen, who was my partner yesterday. We had it was pretty well a war that game.
Yeah, and and I was kind of talking with Karen because Karen was kind of coming up to me and she was like, "We don't, because you had the crowd following you, and everyone was trying to not really kind of put any pressure on you, knowing that you were getting down to that final Canadian."
Yeah, honestly, I didn't even know much about that, what was going on. So I kind of figured Dean Lang and a couple other people, I didn't know if they qualified for it, but I didn't really even think I was that close to it. But it was pretty cool to find out that I was pretty close.
Well, yeah, so you were, the third top Canadian, I believe, because I'm not sure, because it was just going by the time frame, it was you and Dean that you maybe have finished second. But still, just, had you, and I know we've kind of talked, and I've talked with Karen about this as well too, but had you had any thoughts of possibly, looking at maybe going to the pro route?
Not really. People always tease me about it, saying that I might be the next pro kind of thing, but I kind of just shrug it off as I didn't really ever think of it as a possibility, but it's definitely something that sounds pretty cool. Seeing them go to those big tournaments in the States looks like a lot of fun. So.
Well, yeah, and now you've also signed up for the you were in the last the Pro-Am, the virtual Pro-Am as well after that Open.
Yes.
So how did and I know you made another good run in that as well too. You were really showing some people that you can throw there as well.
Yeah, I had a great partner, Callie Akison from Sweden. He was awesome. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think you guys made that far in there as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I think it was the quarters, but we lost by 1 point. We had a tough matchup. We ended up losing by 1 point to a pretty good team. So.
Yeah, which and then that kind of carried you into now this weekend here, and being start off the. I didn't get a chance to make the blind draw on the Friday night, so I wasn't sure just how you had finished up on the Friday night. But
I had baseball Friday night, so I didn't come down till yesterday morning.
Actually, yeah, that's right. I did know about that because the brain is kind of fried there. But Saturday morning, you and Sean kind of started on your run,
Oh yeah,
and
we started off awesome. Went 3-0 in rounders, and then I run into the other half and her partner Glenn McNutt, and they crushed us, put us into the loser bracket right away.
and
But
then
we had a good run from there, though. We made it all the way to the finals after that. But
well, and then let's talk about that final because you and Sean ended up playing against Dean and Brandon in that, and I think I don't want to say because I think people have already known about you, but I think for this weekend, that was that final game was your coming out party of you belong in the top tier of cornhole here in Canada because you were making some big shots against Brandon.
yeah, that was a lot of fun. He always challenges me like that. He even says, he's like, I'm going to put a blocker on you. So I knew we were going to have to do some airmails and that, and we actually hit quite a few of them.
Well, exactly. And it was, and that was fun for me to call because you and him were going back and forth, airmail, airmail. Even said, a couple times you got the four baggers where, we say that he's the showman and he was playing to the crowd, and then you were just putting it in like, hey, I've done it all before, and it was that part was fun.
Now, me and my partner, we coming into it, we knew that we're in tough, right, against Dean and Brandon. They're two of the top players in Canada for sure.
Mm-hmm.
We knew we were in tough, but we were surprised. We actually had a good lead on them and then kind of let it slip away.
Well, and that was the thing, and I finally got to see Brandon kind of because he's always been like the kind of joking way, and you kind of made him kind of take it a bit serious there because you were really kind of like I said throwing we say throwing fire, but you were on. So
yeah, he brought it out of me there. I guess he's done it to me a few times too, playing him, and I've seen him. I think he's done 4 baggers in a row on me before, and just kind of crush your soul. So you know what to expect of it, right? You got to be on your game.
Exactly, yeah. So then you guys finished second in the doubles, the tier 1 doubles. Then we go to singles in the afternoon. And that's you make another run in that where let's kind of lead up to the King Seat game, and then we'll kind of really talk about the King Seat game. But how did your day go up until then?
Really good. I went from doubles. I was using Sean's bags as deadheads, and I thought they were playing really good. They're similar to the Fire Vengeance that I like to use. So I started in the singles with my fire bags, and they were just so sticky that I had to switch. So that's why I went to the shapeshifters.
Yep.
Then I lost my next game playing with them. I was like, oh man, should I really have switched? But it turned out they played really well in the humidity, so it turned out being a good switch. But it was pretty much one tough match to the next that whole day.
Exactly, yeah. And then we you kind of you make the tier 1, you get into the tier 1 bracket, and you kind of stroll through that bracket, and then we get to that King Seat game. And for me, again, I had so much fun calling your games because once that started, you and Dean were just you were washing ends. You were 1 point, 2 points. It wasn't because all the games up until then I'd seen on the live feed were all like 21-0, 21-2 games, and then you guys got there and it was like we're in for a marathon, and that's kind of what it was.
Yeah, I remember. I think I heard you even say it after it felt like we've been playing for 15 minutes and the score was 2-1. I heard you say something like, I think we're 8 or 9 rounds in and the score's 2-1. How long do you think this is going to go? And I was kind of like, oh my God, we're 9 rounds in. But
well, yeah. And then we get to round 19. And after that, it was, you were up 15-13 on Dean. We get to round 20. And then we finally had the first one where there was more than 2 points scored. He gets that 7 on you to go up 20-15. What kind of?
Thought it was lights out after that because I made a pretty big slip there.
Yeah.
I let it snowball. I had one bad bag and led to another bad bag. Tried to recover, and then before you know it, it's a 12-on-3 or whatever it was, 10-on-3.
Yeah, and that's what I've always talked about. Where even because I know I struggle with that myself is to not let that last bag kind of define you is what I say. Right? And it's so hard. It's easy to say, but it's so hard to do that because you're thinking about it, especially if the other guy takes a little bit of time, makes you having more time to sit and I'm going to say stew about it because you're already pissed off at yourself for throwing a bad bag, and then there it goes again.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I thought it was over after that, but then the very next round, he actually gave me an opportunity. So
Yeah,
I
and then
didn't even know it was over at that point. I was going down. I thought it was just tied. And then he's coming back, shaking my hand. I was like, holy shit, it's over.
well, yeah, and you get a six the next end. So that was the funny thing about it was that you guys were like 1 point, 2 points, wash, like then go like 4 washes in a row, then like a 1 point, and then all of a sudden these last 2 rounds, you give up a 7, he gives up a 6, and it's game over, and you're in the final of the tier 1.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. Afterwards, I'm thinking I'm probably going to end up playing him again, but I didn't know who all was left. But I figured Dean's a really tough match, right? I had no idea how good Connor Weiss was. That's the first I got to see him, and he's a demon.
Well, yeah. So you go 21 rounds with Dean, right? And then you have you almost had like an hour and a half off.
Yeah, it felt like about 4 hours, but it was probably an hour and a half.
Well, I had seen you. You were kind of throwing bags in behind me, and behind the live feed where I was sitting there, and I kind of seen you warming up and seen you going. And then Connor has a marathon game with Dean Lang, ends up beating Dean to go to the final with you. Then if I thought that the game with you and Dean was long,
Yeah.
you guys were like, "Here, hold my beer because we're going to go longer."
Oh yeah, it was tough. I got it to a good early lead in that one, and then it felt like it was 13-4 or something like that. It felt like we went 20 ends and it was still 13-4. Like, what do I got to do to get points here? And then I kind of let it fall apart from there.
Yeah, because I think that one there, I know. I think he had said 29, but I thought I'd seen like 25 on the scoreboard that I had. So that was another marathon game because I think that one there you guys went about 35 minutes on that game.
It's crazy,
right? So then we go to game 2, and again you jumped out to that lead again, and then you kind of grabbed a hold of it and just kind of ran with it as well.
Yeah, game 2 I stayed a little more controlled, I guess. The first game though, I don't know if it was me falling apart or just him waiting me out because we played so many ends and we're getting 12s, 10s, like just keep washing, and that I keep waiting for an opportunity and I'm not getting them. I finally get an opportunity for points and I miss, and it's like, oh no. And then he got his opportunities and he capitalized.
Yeah, which it's and that was and for me, and I had Dean sitting there with me, and we were talking more because I know when I'm doing the live feed myself, I'm kind of doing the golf talk, but with Dean sitting there, I wasn't sure because Connor's got the earbuds in. I know you don't wear earbuds, so I wasn't sure if you could hear us, kind of all what we were saying, if that was kind
of a little bit, yeah,
playing a factor into it.
I could hear Dean a couple times. I remember the one I did try for an airmail and I ended up banging my bag in, and he's like, I don't know if he was going for an airmail there or what, but it worked. I'm like, yeah, I was trying. It was kind of brutal, but it pushed my bag in. So it worked.
Well, you know what? You got to be good to be lucky, right?
Yep.
So it's so there. So and then you get Connor in game 2, which I think we kind of looked at it as well, like 45-50 minutes for those 2 games to be played. So you guys went the marathon, and I think probably some of the best cornhole games I've seen in Canada so far in the 6 years the ACL has been up here. It was just fantastic.
Yeah, it felt like they were pretty crazy games, but there's a lot of really good players around, so wouldn't be surprised to see a bunch more of them.
Well, you know what, and there's so many people from your area that I even kind of mentioned on the live feed because the other one was Tyler Finley, the way he played.
Yeah.
Him
and his cousin James are both really good.
Well, Tyler finished 5th in tier 1, right?
Yeah.
And I was kind of talking to James about him, and it's like, oh, Tyler just started playing cornhole in February, and I'm like, okay. In March, he like kicked my ass at a regional up with one of Moondog's ones. So it's like there's and I think, and I was kind of even talking with Dean about it, that's probably the best thing that's come out of this year is that we've got so many new names now that are like yourself that are going, I deserve to be here.
Yeah, the the competition's definitely getting a lot better, and it's making everybody better, right? You're playing a harder match all the time, so it makes you do different things to try and get points. Like that match against Connor, there was no easy points. Like I might have messed up a couple more than him, where give him a couple easy points here and there, but there was pretty much no easy points coming from his end, right?
Yeah,
Every
and go ahead.
every end, it felt like he was in with his first two bag. If he had the lead, he was right in the hole, right in the hole. It's like, oh man, I gotta try and get that lead bag back. So you got to try and create points, right? And blocker in and airmail, that kind of stuff. Muddy up the board a bit.
Well, and that's what I was going to say because I really noticed that, especially in your games, was that I'm so used to seeing so many guys just go airmail in, even if it's a clean board, they're going to try and go airmail all the time because they think they need to do that. But you were really trying to, like you said, muddy up that board, and I was even kind of saying there was a little bit of a channel in there where the bag could just fit in to go in there. Is that more of your style of game? You like to kind of, I guess, I always talk about on the show here, you're playing checkers, you're playing chess, and you kind of,
Yeah,
it looked like you like that chess game.
I try to play strategic when I go. Like I can slide it in pretty good, but I know there's guys that can probably slide it in more consistent than me. So I like to try and throw blockers and airmails and cut. Like I'm not great at a cutter. I kind of have like a reverse cutter. I'm right-handed and my bag goes left to right. So I use that to my advantage a little bit, but
Well, I did see you. There was a bunch of kind of, I'm gonna say even go. I haven't seen. I think I've seen a couple go right to left where you kind of put it around the bag too there at the time. But those are
I'm
shots
working
that you
on
have to make.
I'm working on that, but it still comes out kind of ugly. Like I'm working on the right to left shot, but
Hey, even if it's ugly and it goes in, it doesn't matter.
yeah, sometimes it works, right?
So you talk about the bags that you were using there. You went to the shapeshifters, and I know because I seen you and Karen over at the Cornhole Supplies Canada table checking out bags a lot
Oh yeah.
because I keep hearing, oh yeah, we got new bags coming. There's new bags coming in. What are some of the ones that you like to use?
Well, before it's always the Fire Vengeance was my favorite, just because they're pretty forgiving bag. They don't have a hard kick because I my bag kind of comes in on an angle, so it's not the perfect flat bag, but I know how to control it. But they get super sticky when the boards are humid, so I had to look for another option for those kind of conditions. And the shapeshifters seem to really do a good job. They fight through it really well. The other ones I'm interested in are the Viper bags, the Ultra. They look pretty good. Connor was using them, and they seem to cut through the humidity really well.
Hmm.
But there's so many bags. It's a crazy addiction we have. I think we've sold a dozen bags in the last couple of months, and we still have like 20 sets. So
Well, it's
I still want more.
yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, it's the same. I think Karen's almost the same way with jerseys now as well too. So you got the bags and the jerseys. You got one for like every round that you throw.
Yeah, pretty much. And I'm still waiting for my ACL jersey, but Matt was saying they should be in soon.
I've got some other jerseys that are supposed to be coming as well too. So I'm very hoping that they're coming in this week. But
Nice.
so yeah, so what's next on the agenda for you with regards to tournaments here?
I think the Stroud one, the Moondog Mike's going to be thrown on.
Yep, so which is the provincials there, June.
Yeah.
Sorry, no, not June, July 9th and 10th. I know I'm not able to make it. I gotta work, so I'll be watching you on live feeds there. But yeah, I think that's the next one that's up for a big. I think that'll be conference number 3. I think it's a provincials and a conference at the same time.
Yeah. I played at that Stroud venue last summer or last fall, I think. Mike threw a
Yep,
tournament there. And it was a really good venue. It's kind of like yesterday's big open curling rink like that. So
yep.
should be another good tournament.
Well, I think it'll be fun. I know I'm looking forward to seeing how you throw at that one, and then we already know because I think I've seen you're now inside the could be even inside the top 15 in our central conference here, which isn't too shabby.
Oh, it's pretty cool.
but it's it's something that it's this is our first time doing the big conference event at the end here, but it's it's a thing where you're up there with all the big names. So what's your thoughts on that? Like being with the company you are keeping up at the top.
Well, first of all, I just wanted to be in the top 100 because once he announced that the top 100 can play in it, I was like, oh, I got to try and get in there. But being in the top 20 or whatever it is, like, it's pretty cool. I heard there's some event they can do down at Worlds.
Yeah, there's another one that's if you go to Worlds in August there that I think it's the top 16 that are going to be there. We'll get to play in another tournament that I was able to get my butt handed to me in that tournament down there when I played in 2018. But it's it's still more experience.
Yeah. Everybody you talk to that's been there says it's like one of the best tournaments to go to, or the best tournament to go to.
It's
But
one that you get very little
we
sleep.
we have a road trip planned this year. We're going out west in August, so I don't know if we'd be able to swing it this year.
Well, maybe I know I can't swing it this year. Maybe we'll all go down next year for it in 2023, or maybe they will bring it up to us. Maybe the ACL will let us host it. But
Well, that'd be amazing if they did more tournaments like the Niagara.
yeah,
That one was
I think I had a little bit of a bug in my ear saying that they just might do that. I'm not sure. Hoping that someone, you may know who you are if you're watching, you were going to come on the show. But yeah, so it's that. So and I've got to say, because I know for me it's now time to talk with the sponsors. But if there's anyone that wants to, any bag companies or any anyone else that wants to sponsor Mr. Dunlop here, because I know he's going to need some room. I'm gonna say it right now on his ACL Pro jersey, because I think you are going to be part of that. I don't think there's any doubt of that.
That's pretty flattering. I don't know though. I've seen a lot of the talent around. There's a lot of really good players. I think it's going to be tougher next year to make the pro team.
Well, I'm going to say you were just third in an open in tier one. You just win tier one at a conference here. I think you're in that mix.
Everyone gets lucky now and again.
I'm not that wasn't luck, but yeah, with regards to sponsors, they're coming back they're going by on the bottom of the ticker here. Octane Cornhole, octanecornhole.com. Discount code CornDug will get you 10% off of any jerseys. Dave's got a jersey with that code.
Nice.
And or bags. Then also myearfun.com. You can get 20% off that, either your Bluetooth waterproof speaker or your earbuds, using discount code CornDug there too. jccornhole.com. Talk to Jamie. Mention that CornDug. You may get a discount. You may not. Just depends on how many ciders have happened. But that's that. And then SierraHome.com if you're in Alberta, Edmonton, Alberta, Sherwood Park to be exact. He will help you with any of your home renovation, your home inspections. He's a great guy, and portion of the proceeds, not really the proceeds of your cost, will go to a youth cancer hospice in the Edmonton area. And then Dave's favorite place, I know that this is Dave's favorite place, csccornhole.com, getting all of your Viper bags, your BG shapeshifters, your fire bags. Get them all there at Canadian prices, Canadian dollars, and they ship out the next day. You don't have to wait a couple of weeks. You don't have to wait a couple of months, like some of those companies. We're not going to talk about them. But yeah, so Dave, we've talked about this, having you on the show a bunch of times. I want to thank you for coming on here and talking after your big tiring day.
Thanks for having me, Doug.
Well, and hoping everyone's got to be watching Dave on the live feeds there next time, because I think you're going to be making some noise, because he will be the guy throwing gas, because I will say that he will kick your ass.
Holy crap.